The Lakers finally have their center, but LeBron James is still sending mixed signals on his interest to remain in LA. The Knicks finally have their head coach, but will he bring change or is he Thibs 2.0? Plus, the KD trade to the Rockets isn't final, and it appears to be changing. That's all today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets, and your shot clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me as always. From the Locked On Nuggets podcast, he's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt, the 4th of July holiday is almost upon us, and fireworks safety is always paramount. In fact, over 14,000 people went to the ER last year alone due to fireworks accidents. Be careful, people. Which leads me to ask this question. Which NBA team is most in danger of blowing their proverbial fingers off over the weekend? Who's going to do something silly?
Oh, it's the Miami Heat. Oh, it's the Miami Heat. Oh, it's the Heat. If they were to trade for DeMar DeRozan after all of this, if Bam Adebayo was like, yeah, we gotta do something about this team, and then they were like, DeMar DeRozan. Oh boy. Oh, that's a class 4. That is a 4th degree burn right there.
And trading Bam, that would be appropriate, right? Bam, boom, you get it. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, we've got Hayes. Hayes, the Bulls don't have anything to worry about, right? They're just watching the pretty lights go boom.
I don't know, man. I read a rumor today that the Bulls are taking sniffs around Quentin Grimes, which makes no sense for all the guards that we have. So no, the Bulls are always at risk to do something dumb.
But Matt, you're a big Grimes fan, right? You would like that move, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I like Grimes a lot. I think he's really good. It'd be interesting to see if they got Grimes on a cheaper deal than they've got currently going for Kobe White. And then what they do with Kobe White will be really interesting.
Yeah, I like the player in Grimes too, but it's just like we have 150 guards on the roster.
Can never have enough guards.
It's in vogue right now. Hayes, you don't need anything else. He just needs guards and bigs. That's all we're doing with the NBA now. Is guards and bigs.
Well, the Lakers got their big. DeAndre Ayton has agreed to a 2-year deal that includes a player option for that second season. Here's Locked On Lakers with what they see as the downside risk of that move and the upside hope inherent in bringing on DeAndre Ayton.
The biggest knocks on Ayton, and they are legitimate, and he needs to overcome them for the Lakers to be, really hit the ceiling of what they could be. And like this, hey man, if it really works, like professionalism, sort of the and availability. Like he gets hurt all the time. Like he needs to be on the floor. And the reliability factor in terms of like, are you going to be on time for the team playing? Are you going to be taking stuff seriously? Are you going to watch your assignments every single day for 82 games like you need to do if you're going to be on a contending team? But from a talent standpoint, this is a no-brainer home run for the Lakers, given what they could realistically do, because they gave up nothing but money to do it.
All right, what do you think, Matt? Was this a no-brainer home run? Was it a steal in free agency? Or are the Lakers just the latest team to convince themselves that they can finally get the best version of DeAndre Ayton?
Do you remember Andrew Bynum? Those of you that are younger watching us may not remember. Andrew Bynum was an incredibly talented player. Incredibly talented. He was a monster. Guy was a beast. Problem was that Andrew Bynum didn't really like basketball. Just didn't really like it. He was good at it. Didn't like it. DeAndre Ayton is very good at basketball. Doesn't really like it. Likes video games a lot. And like this is the whole thing is if you can be the team where he goes through this transformational process and he has this part of his life where he gets serious about it and is able to capitalize, it can be extremely effective. And like Bynum contributed to a title team. So you can make this work. But this is kind of the question is like, can you be the team? Are you going to be the one? It didn't work for anybody else, but it might just work for us. That Arrested Development meme is very much in play here. And I think that sometimes you have to take this kind of risks. I think it's good for you to believe in your organizational structure. I think JJ Redick should enjoy this 4th of July. He should go out on wherever he's staying. Hope, by the way, things are good with him getting his house back and get a new place to live. But he should go on wherever patio he is and drink a cold one, Hayes, because he needs to have good moments because, well, this is going to be quite the stressful season for him, I think.
Well, JJ Redick's house isn't the only thing they're trying to renovate in LA because they're trying to renovate DeAndre Ayton, Luka's conditioning. Like they're just trying to work on everything here. I think it's a calculated risk. Like Ayton, for what they got him for, 2 years, a little over $6 million. It's not like it's a huge risk there. Or wait, I'm wrong on that. What was it? What was the contract? $16 million?
Yeah, it's going to be $8.1 million in the first year, and then it's got a player option on the second.
So I mean, it's not like it's a huge risk there, and I mean, it's not a long-term commitment either. We already know that the 2027 is apparently where they're looking to really make their moves to become a championship team with Luka. So I like the move for what it's worth. JJ is going to have his work cut out for himself, but hey, it's LA. Hopefully, maybe the allure of LA will get him to focus in a little bit more since it's such beautiful scenery.
Matt, I do recall Andrew Bynum. The first thing that came into my mind when you said his name was when he was rehabbing a knee injury and he had a setback due to bowling.
Bowling, that's correct.
Which also made me think of this video I just saw of Wembanyama trying to do a bicycle kick, playing soccer. And it's like, Wemby, no, please. No. Are the Lakers, if they don't make any additional significant moves after this, if LeBron hangs around, are they better or worse than they were last season, Matt?
Oh, worse. Losing DFS is bad, man. Yeah. Like, the center was such an important part, and I don't think of Ayton as the lob threat that he is. Like, he is. Like, he's a significant lob threat. And so just putting a north-south presence next to Luka can work. But as I've mentioned kind of over and over and over again, a lot of it's like, do Luka and DeAndre get along will be a big question here. Because if Luka's like, it'll be really funny if Luka's like, I don't like this guy. He doesn't work hard enough. That'll be a really funny turn of events. I think that helps a lot. But we don't know what's going to happen with LeBron. We don't know what the rest of this roster is going to look like. They don't have the defensive wings. Like, they're down to just Rui. This roster still doesn't really make sense. They're still a defensive liability. I don't know that they're probably like a little bit better, but they haven't taken a step the way that I thought they would this offseason.
Ace. I
don't think they're better than what they were last season. I mean, at best they may be about the same, but they've like losing the perimeter defense that they have. The little bit that they had is really important under Luka. And I get it. A lob threat is important as a big two. You want a rim protector, but you're going to need some defense. And LeBron could only do so much. You have playmaking out the wazoo. You have all the playmaking you can want with LeBron and with Luka, but it just feels like they aren't a complete product yet. And I wonder how aggressive that they're still going to be to try to go out there and find the pieces that they need.
A good reminder is just like they got him off of waivers. Like the Blazers were literally like, yeah, we're good, thanks. And that was like a big part of their entire sequence of trading Dame. So there was like, they had to eat some crow on it. That guy is like, there's a reason that guy was available for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, coming up on Locked On NBA, Matt mentioned it, the future for LeBron James in LA still cloudy. We'll talk about that. Plus the New York Knicks, they find their head coach. Is he going to bring change or is it just Thibs 2.0? That's ahead on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money just felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're saving up or planning something big like a trip, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a full financial command center allowing you to track your accounts, your investments, your spending, and even plan for your future goals, all in one clean, easy-to-use app. That means less time stressing out about your money and more time making it work for you. And if you share finances with someone like I do, and you don't want any of the confusion that sort of comes along with that, Monarch makes it easy to stay on the same page without awkward spreadsheets or awkward conversations or missed bills. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The chatter about LeBron James's future with the Lakers certainly not getting any quieter. Ramona Shelburne of ESPN reported that the uncertainty around LeBron's future may have played a role in Brooke Lopez's decision to choose the Clippers. Brian Windhorst theorized that the Lakers' inaction in free agency prior to the Ayton deal could be a way to force James into a trade request. And we have this from our own Danny Cunningham of Locked On CAVS.
The cryptic messages back with LeBron James on Wednesday. Social media took off because what was LeBron James doing? LeBron James was golfing at Portage Country Club, which is in Akron, Ohio. He posted a couple of things on his Instagram story, a boomerang of him in the golf cart, all dressed in, as you would imagine, Nike golf gear with a hat that said, "Welcome home," because of course it said "Welcome home." We know what a LeBron James courtship looks like. We know what LeBron James passive aggressive messages and statements look like. If I'm the Cavs, you look at what it would take to make a LeBron James trade. They would have to trade away roughly $75 million. You are then talking about trading Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, DeAndre Hunter, Max Strus for a 41-year-old LeBron James this year. That is something that is, I think, a humongous risk to take.
All right, Hayes, I'm going to steal a segment title from our sister show, Locked On NBA Game Night, Real or Fake. Is this LeBron stuff real or fake? And if it extends into the beginning of the regular season, how do you think it's going to affect the Lakers' ability to move on into the Luka Doncic era?
I think it's real. I've learned that I don't think LeBron does anything by happenstance. Nothing happens just to happen with LeBron. Everything is a message, especially when it's something that's posted, when it's something that's out there publicly. And with this whole way that this Lakers situation has gone, I refuse to believe that anything is just by chance. So I think it's very real. How much it affects the Lakers depends on how much LeBron wants to get pushy on this. Is he willing to just buy into the season and wait to the end of the season when he's a free agent and he can go wherever he wants? Or is he going to try to push something to happen to where he can help the Cavs try to win the title next year? I think that's going to be the question that he has that he's going to have to answer there, and that the Lakers are going to have to answer. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not moving LeBron unless it's a deal that's extremely beneficial to me. Otherwise, you can sit out the season, you can wait, you can go wherever you want to at the end of the season. Because I don't know how much the Cavs are going to be willing to give up their depth and their important pieces to match the $52 million on LeBron's contract. So I could see this getting a little testy. I think LeBron, both sides are really professional, but it's definitely real in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've already wasted the last 5 years of his career. Why the Lakers care about wasting another? I think if we look at the key with LeBron is everything does have a meaning, but he's not a guy that decides what he's going to do, is clear about what he's going to do, and then executes a plan and drops these hints. It's not like a marketed plan. He just kind of does these things that are reflective of how he feels or what's in his head. And he understands the impact of it, and they are directional, but it doesn't necessarily, because like for him, if he wanted to leave, he could have just opted out, right? If this was just like, hey, you've moved on, you're in the Luka era, that's totally cool. I'm going to opt out. I'm going to go sign for a minimum contract on the Cavs or take the TPMLE or whatever and go join up with them. And that's what we're going to do. We'll just do that. He could have done that and he didn't. And the question is like, what does he want? Right. And a lot of this is he's probably assessing what he can do. Windhorst reporting is the most important element in all of this. Like Brian Windhorst has been the guy for LeBron reporting for the past 25 years. And for as many shots as LeBron's taken at him, Brian's had the number on figuring out what's going on with them more times than not. And his discussion of this stuff has shifted, where he went from, they're not asking for a trade. They were just, it was just a statement. And I might not be happy, but it wasn't anything, to, well, maybe. And it talks about something that we've kind of talked about very clearly. I made a big deal out of this when the Luka trade happened, and there was no time to really like dive in or understand it. because of the immensity of the deal and the insanity of Nico Harrison. But the Lakers openly rejected Clutch Sports. They didn't include them in conversations. They didn't clear the trade with them. They didn't make sure AD was okay with it. They didn't go to Rich Paul with it. They didn't go to LeBron James with it. They just did it because that was what was best for the Lakers. And when you do that after not improving the roster over and over and over again, as they asked you to do over and over and over again, like, this relationship has never been as copacetic as they put on the surface. And so I'm really curious just to see how this goes. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of dynamics with this. I don't know what the options are here. I don't know how this ends, but it's going to be fascinating. It's going to give us something to talk about, maybe for a few months.
Very quickly, Hayes, if you were advising LeBron James, would you advise him to push all of his chips into the table now, force a trade before the season begins, or play it out, play with Luka, wait till the trade deadline, and try to make the Lakers make a move then?
I would say wait till the trade deadline. That way you can survey how everything is, see how the Lakers are going to be, how aggressive they're going to be, and then because then you can play saver to the Cavs if for some reason they come out the gate stumbling or something like that. So I'd wait till the trade deadline. I just think there's so much movement right now going on in the league that it can cause a little bit too much commotion. Let things settle a little bit. Maybe it ends up being a 3-team trade or whatever else, but I'd wait till the trade deadline.
Launch a trade demand on 4th of July. Do it, you coward.
All right.
The challenge issued. Let's move on to the Knicks. It looks like the Knicks have found their next head coach. ESPN reports that they are closing in on a deal with Mike Brown. Here's Locked On Knicks with their reaction.
I feel pretty good about it. Some people might look at it and be like, well, how is this any better than having Thibs, considering he's also like kind of a retread, kind of an older coach, whatever, older sensibilities, been a head coach since, on and off since the mid 2000s. But the question will be, is he a next level coach or is he just a culture setter, kind of like what Thibs was? There's something to be said for like a lot of NBA coaching is managing personalities and, ensuring that people all feel like they're valued on the court and that they're all being utilized right and utilized in the ways that they want. And so from that perspective, I kind of get this hire too. Like, he is someone who's been around the block a number of times. He's been on some really high profile championship teams, like when he was an assistant with the Warriors. I think there's something to that as well.
So that was Alex Wolf. Gavin Shaw seemed to be open to the idea of it working out as well. How about you, Matt? Can Mike Brown do what Thibs could not, help lead the Knicks to an NBA Finals appearance?
Mike's such a good coach, and he's had, you have to remember that he had so much success with the Cavs with LeBron in that late 2000s era. And that really was a really well-coached team. He's been an assistant with Golden State, won a championship. He's had success in Sacramento, got into the playoffs finally. Mike's a really good coach. I don't know if this is the right fit. I don't know if this is the one. One of the stories from last season was that Brown was going off on the starters in Sacramento for their lack of effort in a preseason game. And that kind of foreshadowed what happened with him getting fired. And you could say they tuned him out and this is a fresh voice. And it is. But also just there's so much ego, money, and politics in New York. I just don't know if Brown's gonna be the guy to be able to go through that. Now, on one level, he's a professional and understands the game and the politics, so he can navigate that. On the other, I don't know if he's gonna be able to withstand the storm that I think is likely there with some of the dynamics that they have with Cat and OG and the old guys and everything else. I think it's really tough. So I think it's a coaching upgrade. It's not a major one, but it's a slight one. But I don't know whether this is the right fit for this group of guys or not. We'll have to wait to see this season.
Yeah, Mike Brown is a really, really good coach. 4-time NBA champion as an assistant. He's gotten to the finals as a head coach all the way back in 2007. He's dealt with personalities. He's dealt with a star in LeBron James. Mike Brown is a really, 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 really good coach. The problem is I don't know if he raises the ceiling here at all for the Knicks in any type of meaningful way. And I guess we'll have to wait and see until they get on the basketball court together, because maybe he is the one that has the right scheme. I think what's going to be important for Mike Brown here is the assistants that he hires. I think that's going to be a really big, important part here in New York is how he fills out his staff and what are they bringing to the table, because I think they're going to need some creative minds to figure out ways to make this work both offensively and defensively next season to help them be a better team. But I like the hire. I don't love the hire, but I do like the hire of Mike Brown.
Well, and to Matt Moore's politics point, will they let Mike Brown fill out his assistant staff in the way that he wants to fill it out? That's already reporting that the Knicks are eyeing James Borrego for a lead assistant role, and James Borrego was someone else that they were looking at in this hiring process. Is that a Mike Brown decision? Is that a Knicks decision? All of those kind of things play in. It'll be something interesting. The Knicks are always interesting to monitor, and we will continue to do so here on Locked On NBA. Coming up, though, we shift our attention to the Detroit Pistons, a team on the rise in the Eastern Conference full of young talent. They lose some veterans in free agency. They gain some veterans in free agency, and they may have their eye on one more. That's coming up on Locked On NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The Detroit Pistons, they haven't been the loudest team in free agency, but they have made a number of moves, including signing Caris LeVert, trading for Duncan Robinson, and according to Locked On Pistons, this offseason has been less plan and more pivot to new veterans and continued growth of their young core.
According to what Trajan told us, they wanted to bring back THJ, Malik, Schroeder. They wanted to bring these guys back. They lost all three of them, but THJ is replaced by Ivy, Beasley's replaced by Duncan, and Schroeder's replaced by, Caris LeVert. So they didn't go out and make any big moves. They're relying on internal growth. The improvement is going to have to come from Kay Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, and Ron Holland. They made sure they got their movement shooter. They still have it. They made sure they still got somebody that can go play backup point guard. They got it. They getting Jaden Ivey back, which they hope is better than any of the three guys we just named. They hope that he takes this leap, and if he does take the leap, they're way better.
Add to that a reported interest by the Detroit Pistons in a Malik Monk deal. Are the Pistons one Monk and one Jaden Ivey leap away from being a top contender in the East, Matt?
I think they're better than the Knicks right now.
Wow.
I think they're better than the Knicks right now. I think the Pistons are right now the second or third best team in the Eastern Conference, depending on how you feel about Orlando. I think that they are. Cade showed that he is that level of superstar player. They have bigs. I do not understand Pistons fans being down on this postseason or as this offseason. I don't get it. I do not understand it. Duncan Robinson can shoot, can score, can pass, can facilitate, and is sneaky, a real pain in the ass defensively. He's not a lockdown guy, but he's going to be your fourth defender. It's fine. LeVert, perfectly fine defensively at this point, and he made huge leaps as a playmaker running the second unit for Cleveland. That was a major trend that nobody really was tracking as much as I thought that they should have with Caris at Cleveland and what he was capable of there. They got way better. I'm not saying that Caris would be better than Nikhil, but I do kind of think that I'd rather have Duncan and Caris than Nikhil because of the versatility that brings to him. That was their problem in that playoff series. They didn't have other guys who could do stuff. And Dennis Schroeder comes with, a lot of Dennis Schroederism. I think they are way better. I think this is the second best team in the Eastern Conference, or third, depending on how you feel about the Magic, behind the Cavaliers. That's where I'm at, Hayes.
Yeah, I think they've had a perfectly good off. Let's be clear. We're a year removed from them adding Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, and everyone's like, you added two of the worst players. What are they going to? And they end up playing really good veteran roles for you. You've gotten better from that. I think the Detroit Pistons are a really good team. I don't have them as high as Matt. I still got the Cavs, New York. I got Orlando above them. I think they're right there with how I see Atlanta too, with the additions that Atlanta's made until the season starts and we see them playing games. But they're still a top 4, top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, and they, with Cade's not done growing, you're gonna get Jaden Ivey back as well. Jalen Duren's still a player that's developing as well. I really like this Pistons roster. I remember I told Kuka Hill, host of Locked On Pistons, 2 years ago, I'm like, you guys have a lot of really good young players. You're crazy. And now look at them. So I really like a lot of players on this roster. I think they're going to be a really tough competitive team in the Eastern Conference.
And to Ku's point, all of their moves seem to be around supporting that young core as opposed to disrupting that young core. I don't know if a Malik Monk addition. I don't know how you feel about it, Matt. If that would serve to disrupt that young core a little bit, if it would take some shots away from an Ivy or from Cunningham, or if you like that Malik Monk addition.
Oh, I love it. I think it's phenomenal. Man, you put out okay, so if you put out a bench unit that's Karras and Monk, like you are cooking. With Stewart as your muscle, and you got Duncan, you could stagger one of the starters? Yeah, no. For the Eastern Conference, yeah, you get Malik Monk, and if I think that they're the second best team right now, they're definitely the second best team if they get Malik Monk, no question.
Hayes?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect replacement for Malik Beasley with what he has going on there. And they still were able to retain Paul Reed, too, as a really good defender and bench role big for them. This is a really, really good team. Really good team.
Sure.
Very interesting. Here's something you also might find interesting.
That's pretty interesting.
The Athletic reports that the deal to send Kevin Durant to Houston could expand to a record 7 teams, including the Hawks, the Nets, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Timberwolves. The previous record was 6 last offseason in the trade that sent Klay Thompson to Dallas. Matt, what's going on with these Voltron-style NBA deals that seem to be growing out of nowhere? I thought the KD thing was a done deal.
As if the CBA was not enough of a pain in the backside, this is also what we have to get through is you got to combine all these deals because it makes it easier and more functional. You've got to be able to fit in different mechanisms so that you don't wind up in a situation where one team, because teams are trying to avoid being hard capped at whatever apron that they're at. So there's all these complicated mechanisms that honestly I can't even keep track of. And when you've got pre-existing structures, it's easier to combine them to be like, hey, we're already doing this with you and we're doing this other thing with them. Can we go ahead and add this into that deal? And the teams are usually like, sure, no problem. Like, it's fine. It's as long we just want to get what we want to get. As long as we can do that, we're willing to cooperate. It's mostly just procedural, making the money work flow.
Hayes.
Yeah, no, I agree with Matt there. I think procedure was the perfect word for it. It's a move that's functional and makes sense. And if all these teams that are involved, it just helps them, whether it's to save a little bit on cap, work into a trade exception, whatever it ends up being. That's one of the more interesting things to see happen in the offseason is that when it's all said and done and the smoke settles, what teams then go back to the drawing board and say, hey, let's turn this into a trade. And it's just from the basketball nerd part of me really enjoys that aspect of it.
Now, you know what this is? This is GM resume padding. That's what this is. This is shenanigans so that you can show that you've done something. And a lot of these reported deals have already really been done. They're like draft deals that are going to get added to the math here. This is resume padding.
Just imagining some assistant coach on his LinkedIn with a bullet, negotiated the most complicated deal in NBA history.
That's right. This is going to get bigger and bigger. I can't wait for the all 30 team trade. I'm here for it.
Yes.
All right, let's before we get to our 4th of July holiday, I want to know what the biggest open question you have left in terms of free agency or the offseason in general. What's the biggest open question you have left, Hayes?
I would say, what's going on with my Chicago Bulls selfishly and Josh Giddey? Let's get that deal done. But then outside of that,
well, hold on. Yeah, let's pause there. What's taking so long, in your opinion?
I think that the Bulls finally, for once, are actually trying to negotiate with the restricted free agent instead of going to the table and just saying, you want how much? Okay, we'll give you $1 million more. That's how AK's basically handled restricted free agent conversations up until now. And I think now they're really trying because there's nobody else that can give them big money. And I think the Bulls are really, with of course the other extensions that they have coming up at the end of next season, that they may be just trying to save a little bit where they can, and maybe it's just a little back and forth on that.
Okay, you say no one, but then we thought there was no one that was going to be able to give Miles Turner big money, and then all of a sudden Milwaukee came out of nowhere. So is there a danger that you could lose Giddey still?
I mean, yeah, there's always a chance. I think Brooklyn has it to where they can still create $25 million, not more, but added to what they have by waiving a couple of non-guaranteed contracts or something like that. So yeah, there's always a chance of it, but I'm really not that worried about it. And maybe that's when it will happen. Like now I'm going to get an alert that Josh Giddey signed an offer sheet with another team.
Wouldn't it also kind of be like, oh no, Josh Giddey's gone. Anyway,
I really like Josh Giddey. I would like Josh Giddey a lot.
Sure. Good season. Lots of people like Josh Giddey at various ages. I think for me, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo and what he thinks about the offseason of the Bucks and what he's going to decide. But if we're being real here, Doug, if I'm not just playing the part, I really want to know if the Wizards are going to retain Tristan Vukcevic as a restricted free agent off his 2-way deal. This is very important to me. Tristan was great last season. You got to get him back, Wiz. Come on, what are you doing? Don't hurt me like this, Wiz. Get Vuk back. We need Vuk back.
I'm gonna send some Wizards gear to your house. I need you to just rep the gear. You're just gonna go full bore Wizards fan. You want them to win. It's okay. It's great.
I have a team every year. Last year was the Pistons. This year it's the Wizards. Let's go.
Hayes, I distracted you with Giddey talk. You have some more open questions, it seemed like.
Did Milwaukee really do enough? Have they really done enough to be able to keep Giannis to stay? Like you may have his buy-in now, but will you have his buy-in by the trade deadline? That's really the question. And we won't have the answer yet, but that is something that's still in the back of my mind.
I mean, it is crazy that we have so many questions still around Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James and where they're going to be heading into next season. I mean, those are two things that could just foundationally change the landscape of either conference.
Yeah, and like the other thing is like trying to figure out exactly what team is going to screw with my 4th of July and piss off my mother-in-law when we're trying to cook dinner for 8 people. That's the real question because it's an annual tradition.
All right, here are my open questions. What are we going to do to make sure that Wemby gets to the regular season healthy? I'm serious. This soccer footage that I saw, he's doing all kinds of things this offseason. I'm scared. I want a healthy Wemby in San Antonio. I want to watch that. So that's an open question for me. And then can we just trade Jonathan Kuminga already? Or is anyone else tired of this? I'm just tired of reading about a Jonathan Kuminga trade that never happens. Now it's Sacramento seems to be in the mix here. But then you go back and forth and you see, well, Golden State, they don't feel like they can make a deal happen, so they're just going to sign him to a short-term deal. It's like, can we just do this already?
I'm ready for him to go to the Kings so we never have to hear about him again.
Final word, Hayes. Just get it done. Just get everybody. Just everything. All of just get it done. Just get everybody. Get it done. Let's wrap this on up. It's been a very, very hectic from the playoffs till now. Let's just get everything done so we can chill a little bit.
Yeah, we say this until it's August and we're like, oh God, what are we going to talk about today? Well, let's rank hook shots by small forwards. Here we go.
Oh, see, that's my wheelhouse. I'm ready to get into the silly season. That's where Locked On Hornets shines. That's where, in my opinion, that's where Locked On NBA shines, is when we're out of things to talk about. That's when it gets most interesting. So stick with us here on Locked On NBA. If you like what you heard, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Hayes for their expertise every single day. Programming note, we'll all be on vacation tomorrow, but if something massive happens, Matt and Hayes are going to jump on to YouTube live to cover it, so make sure you have your notifications on YouTube turned on so you know when we go live. Locked On NBA Game Night, our sister show, it's on this feed. They'll also be around to cover things that happen. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. Be kind to each other. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday, and we'll see you next week on Locked On NBA.